Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
We're sorry. All services are busy now.
A lot of retro computing YouTube folk have been talking about dial-up internet in the last year or so. In fact, it's reached the point that even the next Chaos Communications Congress has its own dial-up and ISDN internet provider. But something that I think has been missing in all of this is, how did this gear all work? What did it take to make an ISP in the late 90s? So that's what I want to explore in this video, is setting up a dial-up ISP the way your local internet provider might have worked, and also explaining how this stuff actually worked in a layman's sense, because telephone networks are incredibly complex, and all the resources online tend to assume that you are working in the telco world, and that you understand about 50 or 60 things already. So I'm going to self-deprecatingly call this the Idiot's Guide to Dial-Up, because I'm a complete idiot when it comes to telco gear, and I don't want to set the wrong expectation. Also, real quick, I want to just thank everyone that does know how telco gear worked and helped me put this all together, quite literally.
Oh my god, he's online! Can he see me?
So if you want to build an ISP at home, the first thing you're going to need is a lot of hardware. So, in no particular order, here's what we'll be using for my project. First up, we have a ThinkPad A22P, a Pentium 3 laptop from about the year 1999, the perfect stand-in for testing this network. For small-scale testing, we're going to use a Cisco IAD 2431. This will let us have 16 phone lines, and also, just for completeness sake, I've installed a 4-port VIC card. This should make sure we have 4 digital phone lines, which will become important later. These Cisco machines can be had for about $30 on eBay, and the VIC card was about another $10. So for $40, it's an excellent little piece of home lab kit. But now here's where it gets a little more tricky. We can talk to the IAD, but that only understands phone calls. We need to talk to a modem. So we need to link the IAD into this, a Cisco AS5300. If you were online on dial-up into the 90s or even through the 2000s, this is probably the device that your computer was talking to on the other end of the phone line. Fully loaded, this machine can handle 240 full 56K modems for a total of about 12 megabits of network traffic. Online, these things go for a few $100s each, plus the cost of shipping because they weigh about 30 pounds. But I got mine a few years ago from a PC recycler, so that's what I'm going to be using today and also into the future. Once the phone call is picked up by the 5300 and it starts talking with the modem in your computer, it's going to send over the username and password, and we're going to need to verify that those things exist. We're also going to need to give you an IP address and also DNS and other things so you can access the internet, as it were. For that, we're just going to use this really old Dell Optiplex piece of junk that runs Linux. Probably the least interesting part of this whole setup. We are also going to want to use a switch, just to network everything together, of course. For testing, I'm going to use this absolute piece of junk 10100 switch, because the AS5300 is so old, it does not understand gigabit, and I don't want to introduce any weird incompatibilities into the network. Later on, I will replace that switch with something a bit more capable that can go into a network rack along with the rest of the Cisco equipment, but just for today, we're going to use that. But don't blink, because we're not done yet. We still have a ton of cables that we need to just wire everything up. We need serial cables to talk to the Cisco devices. We need network cables to plug everything in. And presumably we will need some phone wiring too while we're at it to connect the modem to the VIC-3. But now with everything laid out in front of us, let's get it all hooked in together, and let's start configuring the 5300, the IAD 2431, and slowly working our way toward dial-up bliss.